End of the beaver, end of the whale, end of the lynching, leave their tail inching away from humanity for fur or oil, toil, or toll roads price gouging. Goodbye, Buffalo. You could not be copywritten. Pause because the passenger pigeon's passing. Because women do not mind their men being gone for months. Kill the whales, but bring me back a dork. Where is the story of a whale saying, "Why was I born with a dork?" What a normal globe education teaches is not love, it is for men made dorks. So the beast needs not two backs. Go get whales, someone said. I've got Prozac, a box of wine, and a battery produced powered toy. As the train was rolling downhill with no hope of safely stopping, there was no hope of surviving the inevitable wreck. Death was coming sooner than anyone had expected, yet life persisted for a short, unknown, limited time, knowing there was no slowing. So, showing and controlling our fear is the new measure of a man. Put yourself in a situation facing death. The train is still warm and dry, except for the tear of those hurtling towards loud and fire filled death. Then a man gets on the intercom. He calls himself Paco. He's saying like this: Do Lord, oh, do remember me. I'm trying to lighten it up there at the end, RJ. I was trying to do some art writing while I was in class today. Do remember
Yeah, it
me.
was somewhat effective. I thought the globe teaches survival of the fittest, but
It
I was
teaches
way off.
it
I was
teaches
way
the
off.
opposite of love, RJ. Oh, if it wasn't for your looks, you would not be famous at all. Gee whiz. The Globe. The Globe is just not a one trick pony. It's the B system or big part of it. There's your fair use disclaimer. I don't think I really had any screenshots to talk of. It was why I picked out that crazy Ozzy Osbourne thing. We're all dying, RJ. Did you know that? We're going to die.
Slow, yeah, it's a slow burn, one day at a time.
Seems like it's picking up though. And I remember it's so sad. Remember all these first there were the well there was us and then all those other people, the hippie generation and then the generation X and the millennials and the whoever whatever they got going now and now they won't ever get to go out and get gasoline for 30 cents a gallon like when we were kids or here's a carton of eggs, all right, here's your 50 cents. It's so sad. It is sad. It's like the golden what we had wasn't really a
Yeah,
golden age, but
for,
it was
for
so
about the
much better.
same amount of money, you want a gallon of gas or a pack of smokes? Uh,
When I started smoking cigarettes, they were 50 cents. You ever heard of this guy that wants to ride on the crazy train?
yeah, I'm sure it's a crazy ride. Yeah.
He's a singer, not for Led Zeppelin, for Black Sabbath. He used to eat the live bats on stage. He'd eat them bite their heads off, and then go argue that the Bible's silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
Allegedly, yeah.
did you send me this, or this guy? It's
I
like
may
that.
have sent you that
I know we sent a couple. We were looking at the
because
death.
I was listening to him and I wasn't
Okay.
watching it, but I was listening to what he was speaking about, and I'm sure he was showing some charts or graphs or whatever.
I wonder if I have any of them left up on the screen to look at. First off,
Yeah. About prodigy or
yes.
lack of.
So look at that. Yikes. Oh, man. These have been around. Some people, they're going to kill all the potatoes in the valley. It's what causes a blight in certain species. There's hundreds of these nematodes in the soil. And every now and then they pick a variety of crop and just decimate it. They're small. They can get pretty big, though. Yuck. Ooh, wow. So the guy that did evolution, he's got a thing for him. Excuse, I mean, something. Yuck. Oh, man. So that's how they. Oh, wow. So anyway, that's its, I guess it's penis. I wonder that's just crazy. Nematodes. They're classified like tardigrades. That's that live forever, the water bears, the guys at the Institute for Creation Science, they get a lot of mileage out of that. I know I was fascinated with the water bear when I first learned about it. You ever had much dealings with the farmers in your area, RJ?
Well, I mean, I was raised on the farm, but I'm no longer there any longer.
Oops. That's not how I meant to type in. You know, I was right. I wasn't a full blown farmer, but I was raised on a farm too. And
I was involved with much of the activity that that goes on with the
I worked with them. I did
planting
everything.
the crops, harvesting, all of that.
I never worked at
animals.
A dairy. That's the only thing I didn't do, but I wouldn't want to do.
Dairy.
A scientist named Nathan Cobb wrote the following about nematodes. Nematodes do not furnish hides, horns, tallow, or wool. They are not fit for food. They do not produce anything fit to eat. Neither do they sing or amuse us in any way, nor are they ornamental. In fact, when they are displayed in museums, the public votes them hideous.
Huh.
Judging from that quote, Cobb seems to understand the common consensus on nematodes, which is that if there is to be a consensus, it is not a positive one.
You know, yucky is a word that pops into my mind. In short, if all the matter in the universe, that is that word you hate, except the nematode were swept away, our world would still be dimly recognizable. And if, as disembodied spirits, we could then investigate it, we should find its mountains, hills, vales, rivers, lakes, and oceans represented by a film of nematodes. Well, yeah, I don't get what the. Anyway. So these are killing the crops. And what I learned in my water class is that you can't even, like, if you drive a truck over some ground and then drive it to where they're growing potatoes, the potatoes that they are scientifically cleaned, they can't handle it. But other nematodes are fine. They don't attack their roots.
The information is all there. It is up to us to uncover their secrets. Perhaps this is why Cobb ended nematodes and their relationships with this call to arms for the field of nematology. They offer an exceptional field of study.
You know what study is for those people? Money, research. This girl's accent, Austrians that learn English, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger. But this was an interesting quote.
where freedom of expression is taken to the extreme, an interesting paradox arises. If said society is tolerant of the intolerant, and the Nazis can serve as a great example here, it is possible that the intolerant will come into power.
Once in power, the intolerant reject tolerance itself. To safeguard democracy, Popper argues for absolute intolerance of intolerance.
Popper further
RJ says something that you could get behind. Absolute intolerance of intolerance. That's her.
Is that an oxymoron statement
That's
or
just
what?
something. That is something. How you guys doing? It sounds good, and I want to get a new microphone. I've got a little bit of time now, a little bit of breathing room, I feel. So I am sprucing up my studio a little bit. And this short impromptu video is just an expression of my frustration. I didn't do a show this morning, so I called RJ and said, my rocks didn't comply. I dumped all kinds of chemicals. You should have seen it was boiling, and rinsed them off. Nothing. Just they're cleaned off, but man, I was trying to avoid some of the grinding and stuff, but there's just no getting around it. Working with rocks and exposing the stones and making them sing out. Ugh. So anyway, I got this class in water. The nematodes came up. I didn't know it was a danger. The Lord put that on my mind about a runaway train going downhill. That's our course right now. And if we are on a runaway train that Satan's in charge, it's up to us to live our lives knowing that eventually one day our number's up. It's appointed for each man, and that means everybody, to die, RJ. How can we help them prepare?
Yeah, that's a reasonable question. As far, is it my responsibility? It as far as your brother's keeper, but anyhow, as far as households and bringing up your children,
Right.
and hopefully grandchildren if you're fortunate enough to
Which you are, but most
experience
people they need to bump up that 1.6 or they won't have any.
Well, I think you're talking about repopulation as
right.
far
I
as
feel, women think, oh, you're not down for the woman movement, you must hate women. No, I think I really do love them. I want them to have children and be happy later in life and have somebody holding their hand when they're old. Here, listen to this and respond to it. You don't need to see it. Let's just see if where the volume is on this.
Egyptian pyramids, better than that child imagining it. This kind of jazz hands emotion as an engagement tool doesn't work. It negates the need to imagine, rendering the pupil a passive rather than an active learner. Parents such as myself ask these questions, but we do not get answers. As the educational psychologist, Dr. Jared Horvath has said, the question isn't what's the best way to take arsenic, but should we be taking arsenic in the first?
Yeah, you get that? So let's substitute like fluoride or something. We're listening to these scholars talk about the best way to take poison.
Well, as far as if you wanted to persuade someone to want what you want,
I do.
all I can say is good luck with your persuasion.
I've tried to do the best I can, knowing that only the people who are called by God and hearing his voice are even going to stumble on around here,
Yeah, that would be a beginning. Yeah, a start. But,
Got a new
I'm just
subscriber.
saying, throwing that out there as a concept, to persuade anyone, not just family and associates or whatever, but people you don't even know, to want, what you want. It falls into that, good luck category.
So I checked was going to go do a few comments. Did get distracted on that, but can you see I got a new subscriber, and he is an artist.
A sculpture.
Are you sharing it?
Yeah, you're sharing. What, an owl on top of a dog? Is that what the...
Yeah.
Well, Lukey's rolling out his grub, me buys.
He's
Lukey's
good.
rolling out his grub, barrel in a bag and a 10-pound tub, me buys.
Seems to know what he wants to do.
He's old
What's
school.
the matter with you? You totally forgot the guitar solo. You idiots! Play it! Play it now!
The chain snoring.
Well, I'm glad he subscribed. He sure is handy with the chainsaw.
Cheers, real enough. Yeah.
You can also do owls in trees. Just checking in on the news here. There's our new helper, Elon Musk, doing the Department of Government Efficiency. It feels like a fascist takeover to me, RJ. It feels like a fascist takeover.
Yeah, I can see where it could be evaluated as such.
AI. Like I said, we have to keep this short here now. As we're going forward, as I'm going to be working for something tonight, what makes some people want to grow up and put $10,000 worth of cocaine under their toupee? Is it just like, that might work 100 times, but when you get caught, you're the guy. You're that guy. You ever wanted to get a toupee? I never did.
I haven't yet. I don't,
You're right.
list that as a high priority.
Oh no, Columbine. 25 years, fire breaks out. That was a big deal. You know what? Like I said, I do want to keep it short, but you know what was the biggest take for me from the whole Columbine disaster, fiasco, psyop, whatever you want to think that is, with those drug children, parents of pharmaceutical workers, mysterious. That was a messed up deal. Do you have any memories of Columbine, RJ?
I recall it happening or being in the news, certainly.
I studied it a lot and saw the videos a lot, and it was the first time they didn't just rush in and get them. The cops held up outside for hours, and when they finally sent in a SWAT team, it took another hour or so before they let the children come out, and they had to come out with their hands behind their head or their hands up like this. Everyone was a suspect and had a gun on him until they said, he's not one of those guys. He's not one of the guys that we've been listening to as they went around systematically killing people. That's what I remember about Columbine. And since that time, we've all been suspects until we're proven innocent. Because what it's coming down to, RJ, is you don't know shit about tolerance. I'm trying to be provocative.
No, yeah, and who should be trusted? Well, nobody.
Yeah.
That's,
And how do you get tolerant of the intolerant? I am so so sick of your free speech tolerance, or what is it? It makes no sense. But in closing, the picture behind me is not one I usually use because it's so hard to explain. RJ, you want to try to give it a little gist of what brought us together as brothers in the Lord and has kept a friendship for going on 10 years now, is our common scratching your head, Paco, because there's a hole.
Yeah, that would be the aftermath of a physics experiment, and before destroying a crime scene, I think.
Oh.
Kind of a snapshot.
Yeah, that's the World Trade Center. And this building that's right next to it, because it was one of those controlled demolitions, this building didn't really get hurt, RJ. They're good at doing that, right? My head, I'm trying to duck down so you could just see the picture.
Yeah, they've had enough time experience to perfect. Yeah.
This is on an island that's full of tunnels, but it didn't break them either. So that
Suspicious?
Yeah, and they shouldn't call me a conspiracy theory because I tied that into from when that happened, Daniel chapter 12, because there's no doubt, in a scholarly biblical mind of when was the abomination of desolation. Jesus said, look at the book of Daniel. Daniel says it's when the daily sacrifices are taken away and a foreigner stands in the Holy of Holies and says, ha, it's mine now. But there's no more daily sacrifices. No stone left upon another. And then there's a time said, blessed are those who make the last 45 years. In the spirit, I was shown that we're in those last 45 years. That was a long time ago. And the world is getting a hunch of it now, RJ. They don't want the famous Randy, and they don't want Paco, though.
Well, there has been some speak about reopening that can of worms. So
I heard the can of worms are going to open Obama's birth certificate. Which can of worms are we talking about now?
The 9/11, official.
Oh man, that will blow it wide open, wouldn't it? I haven't heard that. Yeah, I keep waiting for the JFK one. I keep waiting for the 3,000 subpoenas to be issued. I keep waiting for the first day in office. They're going to release Jeffrey Epstein's list. It didn't happen yet, but I'm sure it will.
Be patient. Yeah. Who knows?
These MKU kids drugged and weaponized by those. Have you seen the? That reminds me. In closing, we'll take a parting glance at Doodah not at the nematodes, but we saw this, but there was this one, our culture is based on, here's like a porno movie, but where's the one about, they had some transvestites pushing back and arming up. That might have been, I think I had that one. Where's that? What's that one? That's not what I need. There's killer trees, having fewer babies. So we talked about this, and then it came out in the news today about how having fewer babies is going to, some mythical number, quadrillion. When I was a child, they mentioned trillion as an impossible number, and I just got used to it. So now don't throw quadrillions at me, please. That's too big. But anyway, it's going to cost them a lot of money. And as I was scrolling down it, IVF, whatever that is, in vitro fertilization. So that's how people are going to have babies.
Yeah, you'd need to hit the more to get the rest of the text, but yeah, there's in a
But there
nutshell.
are some reliable, or these seem to be, pretty good Congolese Christians killed but conquering. And if you want to read more, you get the whole deal.
The rest of the story, yeah.
Right. And we have to be, yes, I push hard. I know, man. I don't want people to believe the globe even a little bit. But there are still in this world salt of the earth people that they may never grow to be the next Titus or Timothy or some of the people, Onesimus. But they know what's right. And we can struggle. I can struggle. We want to properly present what we do. But in the end, it's people are going to hear it.
It's not so much what you've been taught. It's what you end up learning is what,
yeah.
And actually,
we've both been sharing back and forth a lot of stuff about children and their screen time and how much is too much, is even a little bit too much. At what age do you say, okay, well, you do need a cell phone or something? But we're old now, but most of our audiences are still, dealing with children or
my clocks are chiming here on my end, so not to distract you, but that's kind of
that seems like a good place to end it. We're in a place, we're rushing towards death, and at the very end, how are we going to face it? I started out by saying that, if I could just do one thing and we could all not sing Kumbaya, but sing do Lord, oh do remember me. And let's be waiting for him by the gate, not be caught, I'm in charge, but I was back gambling and drinking with my boys because I'm on a streak or something. You know how guys like to do that, gambling and play the cards and stuff.
Seems
so anyway,
like an activity, yeah.
Anything you want to say before we close it up?
Well, stay safe and stay informed. Yeah.
It's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past because the mud flood was Armageddon. Then they had 1,000 years and Satan gets loose, and they've been doing this reset ever since. Me and my friends never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We're trying to prove we have your best interest at heart. Hey, Festus. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho, aloha, arrivederci, ciao, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, Nakamain. That's how I like to say goodbye.